This has been one of the most extraordinary years in American political history that I can ever remember, and maybe indeed that there ever was. This president was elected to change the state of affairs in Washington, and he has done so. It's not come easily because the many forces in Washington, both in the Democratic opposition and in the Republican Party, have been very reluctant to accept the new order of things that the president has set for the people of the United States. But he's really done so, and I think the folks back in the United States are really appreciative of this. I mean, take a look at some more outstanding examples. During the Obama administration, the economy was foundering. It was really in what we say in the doldrums. Within days after the election from the November of 2016, and certainly after Trump took office in January of 2017, the economy just re-energized. The stock market has hit new highs of an unprecedented nature. The consumer confidence is an all-time high. Unemployment is a low that we haven't seen in decades. The jobs that the president promised are coming back to the United States, and it's something that he worked on with in intensity even before he took office in January. What about immigration? That was another big issue during the campaign. You know, that we have all this illegal immigration coming to the United States. The previous administration wanted to take these 11 million folks that came in illegally to the United States and turn them into citizens, and I think the Democratic voters. That immigration is all but stopped, even without the wall being built, and the wall will be built. He is in the process of building the wall with Mexico, but what's fascinating is that something close to there's been an 80% drop in illegal immigration to the United States because the folks understand that there's a new president in Washington with a new agenda. Now the opposition has tried everything they can to stop this, court cases and judges who were biased and wrong. But the President of the United States has set the tone and set a clear message to the world that this is not going to stand. In the foreign policy area, too, we had 8 years of a deliberate weakening of American position around the world. Okay, it was an extraordinary thing to say. The President of the United States went around from country to country, even from the very first days in office at that time, you know, apologizing to the world for America's exceptional nature and its achievements. This president is exactly the opposite. He's gone around the world. He's shown that he's determined to restore American leadership. He has done so around the globe. He has done this, whether it be vis-a-vis the North Koreans who got away with murder in their nuclear program for years, or vis-a-vis the Chinese or the Russians, or here in the Middle East, vis-a-vis the Iranians and Daesh or ISIS. I mean, ISIS is about to get wiped off the map, all right, here in Syria and Iraq. And that is because the President of the United States has taken a strong lead in that battle. Wherever you look, this is an administration with an agenda that's determined to change the whole standing of America in the world. They've done that. They've done it in the world. They've done it at home. It's a great thing.
How do you explain all the investigation that's happening now against the President Trump? What is that? Is a campaign against Trump?
Look, ever since Hillary Clinton and the Democrats woke up early, you know, on the 8th of November and realized that they weren't going to be sitting in the White House or controlling the houses of Congress, they have refused to accept the reality that the American people have spoken and supported Donald Trump's and the Republicans' call for a change in Washington. And they've gone to extraordinary lengths to try to undo the will and to counteract the will of the American people. Demonstrations from coast to coast. You know, at the time of the inauguration, well, the women and the pink hats and everything else, wherever you looked around, there was everybody in that part of the political spectrum, whether from Hollywood to the university campuses to the Democratic opposition in Congress, they all were saying the same thing. They were even talking about impeaching the president, President Trump, even before he became president, which is incredible. And that has lasted until this very day. In fact, they've created a whole series of accusations about the President Trump and his campaign concerning Russia and otherwise, that was aimed at delegitimizing his administration. And now what we've learned, okay, in recent weeks and even recent days, is that it wasn't Donald Trump or the campaign at all that had anything to do with the Russians. The Russians were involved with trying to get involved in the U.S. elections, as they have been ever since the founding of the Soviet Union and afterwards. But it was the Democrats who were the ones that are hiring these opposition research and what was it called, GP Fusion, and creating this famous Russian file to embarrass the president, where in fact they are the ones that were involved in doing this. It was the Democrats who were selling uranium during the Obama administration to the Russians, and nobody ever said a thing about the fact that the Clinton Foundation was, getting millions, even tens of millions of dollars from the Russians and other sources in order to make that deal happen. I mean, it's just amazing. But despite all of those efforts, to bring this president down, he stands strong. God bless him. He is strong and courageous, as he was during the campaign, and he will be in the first year of his presidency. And I expect that he'll be president for the full 4 years of his first term and another 4 years during the second term.
And now the main question of all the people that live in Israel, the embassy is going to move to Jerusalem?
I believe firmly that Donald Trump will keep his promise, and a clear and unequivocal promise to the American people, to move the embassy to Jerusalem. In fact, he's probably the only president in the last, since President Clinton in the 1990s, that really is intending to move the embassy to Jerusalem. But he also has to deal with reality as he finds it. And the reality in the Middle East is that the Iranian threat, both on the nuclear level and here on a geopolitical level, is so serious and so dangerous that it requires a coalition of the willing of Israel and the Sunni Muslim states to resist the Iranian attempts to achieve hegemony over the region. We're just seeing it today with the resignation of the Lebanese prime minister, who said it himself. Iran controls Lebanon through Hezbollah. Iran controls Syria. Iran controls Iraq. They are now on the threshold of achieving their dream of creating an Iranian swath of control from Tehran all the way to the Mediterranean Sea. That is not something that Israel could ever accept, or the Sunni Muslim states in this area could ever accept, or the United States, or the international community for that matter. That's got to be stopped. In order for that to happen, in order for that coalition to form and to be effective, we've got to give an opportunity for Israel and the Sunni states to get together. For that to happen, we don't need to move. This is what the president has decided. This is what Prime Minister Netanyahu has decided. We don't need to move the embassy right now. That's a device. It could be a divisive thing in building the coalition. But as soon as that coalition is built, I'm confident that the President of the United States will carry through his promise to move the embassy to Jerusalem, close the consulate general, and finally bring justice, to the city of Jerusalem. Justice and peace to the city of Jerusalem.